Hi, I'm Jimmy and welcome to episode 1 of my sub-3 hour marathon build. So for a bit of context, I ran my first marathon about 3 months ago in April. Loved every minute of it, had a great day, posted a really solid time of 3:18. And so now the next goal is Perth Marathon, which is in October. So we're about 13 weeks out and the goal is to go sub 3 hours. So that's a huge ambitious goal to knock 18 minutes off in 5 or 6 months. But we'll see how we go. So the big goals for this series, well, the big goals for the training block rather, we've got a few. Obviously there's sub 3 hours, but that's not my number one goal actually. My number one goal is to find and maintain a healthy balance in life. I'm very aware that my personality is a little extreme, and those who know me will probably be laughing right now. I'm quite extreme. When I'm into something, I just go 100%, and I am so into that. And that's a real gift. Like, it's a real gift to be able to have this razor sharp focus on something and block everything else out and really go after that one thing 100% and achieve it. That's a great gift, but if that tendency isn't constrained, limited, controlled, and put in its right place, it can become something which is unhelpful. And I really don't want that to happen. Yes, I've got this goal of sub 3 hours in the marathon. Well, that's not the final goal, actually. The final goal is to try and make it to a sub-elite level. But that's not actually the big goal. And whereas I'm really thankful and grateful for everything running's done in my life so far, huge change in lifestyle, and we'll probably go more into that at a later date. That's all really good, and it's been really great having these things to work for. But first and foremost, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a friend, and those relationships completely dwarf anything to do with running in order of importance. And so I need to make sure that I keep the things which I want to be number one in my life as number one, which is really hard because when I'm going after something, it often seems like the most important thing in the world. And I've got to do it. And it's funny because when I'm in that mindset, I can often see it now. Like I can tell myself that I'm getting into this slightly obsessed zone. And yet I often feel a bit powerless to change it because I genuinely believe that this is the most important thing in the world, which is rubbish. The number one thing in my life is my relationship with God. And a direct consequence of that is my relationship with other people. And so I need to find a way of keeping those things in balance. And it's going to be really hard because marathon training demands a lot. There's a big time input, but it's not just the time input for training. It's the mental energy, it's the discipline, it's the change in lifestyle. It requires a lot, and it's a really good pursuit, I think. But I need to find a way where first things remain first and running remains in its place. As good as it is, it's not even secondary. It's pretty far down the list on priorities in my life. So that's a big goal. There's the sub 3, there's balance. Actually, well, balance is number one. So there's balance, there's sub 3. Another goal I have is to try and optimize my body composition. And related to that is diet. So I've been mucking around with my diet lately and really enjoying that. And I've discovered that one of the things I think that attracts me to running and marathon training is I just love learning about things that I'm interested in. And so I've just become fascinated with how the body works, different training, diet. So I really want to optimize that to get my body fat levels at an optimum level. I think I'll probably do a whole episode on that at a later date. And another goal is to keep working on and hopefully sort out some of the issues I've been having with my body and running mechanics. I've got a bit of gluteal tendinopathy, a lateral pelvic tilt, a rotated pelvis, a crossover gait. So there are a few things which have been causing some issues that I'm working on, have made heaps of progress already on, which is really fun. So the big goals for this training block are balance, to get as fast as I can, to optimize body composition and nutrition, and to sort out body issues, for a better way of putting it. So we've had 1 week of the training block. I was meant to start a week ago, but got really sick with the flu, so it was kind of delayed for a week. But it was an awesome start. So day one of the marathon build started with a half marathon race. I've never run a half marathon. Well, I've never raced a half marathon before. I've done plenty in training, obviously. So that was really fun. It was called the Bravehearts 777. And it was part of a series of marathons. So there were 7 marathons in 7 days across 7 states in Australia. So a big undertaking for those people who were doing all 7. And it was raising money for charity. So it was a great event. I just did the half marathon, obviously. And I really wanted to race it, but I managed to control myself and not race it, to treat it more as a training run. And the reason for that is because I'd never raced a half marathon before. I just wasn't sure how much recovery I was going to need afterwards. So I needed to start this training block well. And I didn't want to race a half marathon and then just be knackered for 1 or 2 weeks. I don't know how long it takes to recover because I've never raced one. So I wanted to go at about 95%, use it to get some good information, to get some more race experience, and of course, just to enjoy it. I think it's really easy sometimes to forget that we love running. It's a sport. Race as much as possible, run as much as possible. So it was really fun. So my plan was to go out at about marathon pace, and then every 5Ks get incrementally faster if I could, and if I felt like it wasn't going to be too detrimental to my training later on in the week. And the plan was, if I could get faster every 5Ks, my average pace should be the average pace I'll need in October to break 3 hours, which I did. The run went really well. The first 3 or 4Ks didn't feel good at all, actually. So I went out and I felt slow and heavy and sluggish, and I was thinking, oh man, this sucks. I'm going to have to run the whole thing at marathon pace or even slower. But I think I just needed to warm up more, because after 3 or 4Ks, I felt great. And as you can see from the splits, it was just a beautifully executed plan. So the first 5Ks were about marathon pace, and then got a little bit quicker, a little bit quicker, a little bit quicker, and crossed the line feeling really strong. Like I was definitely a bit tired then, but I definitely wasn't full gassed, which was really encouraging. So to average 4 minutes 16 across a half marathon on day one of my marathon training block, I just was really encouraged by that, because I had no idea how my body was going to respond. My training had felt a little bit all over the place before that. I'd been sick. So to average 4:16 and for it to feel so comfortable, I think that was what was really encouraging. My heart rate was very controlled. I think I only got to my anaerobic zone in the last couple of Ks. So my heart rate was really controlled. It felt very easy. It was a really fun race. Beautiful course. I wish my little camera I normally take, it wasn't working for some reason. I think it may have been too cold. But I was spewing that wasn't working because it was such a beautiful run. It was along the river in Perth. We could see the sunrise. The Optus Stadium was there, the river, the bridge. Oh, it was beautiful. Great event. Loved every minute of it. Pretty well organized, although there was one toilet for all contestants. I think there were about 400 or 500 people who entered the race, and there was one toilet for everyone. So I ran the entire thing absolutely busting for the toilet. But I made it, and I didn't drink at all on the run, actually, which is terrible. Don't do that. But I didn't want to kind of need the toilet even more. So that was a really fun, encouraging way to start this training block. So that was Monday. And then in the afternoon, I did a strength session. And again, later on in the series, I'll do an episode on what strength training I do, because that's fun. So Tuesday, I did 50 minutes easy in the morning, and I think half an hour easy in the afternoon. So for my afternoon easy runs, I always go barefoot. So I started doing that a few months ago for a few reasons, probably primarily to try and help improve running efficiency or running economy, also to strengthen up foot muscles, ankle muscles. And if I'm being honest, it's also because to reduce the wear on my shoes. So running seems like such a cheap sport to get into. You just need a pair of shoes and you run. But when you start to get into some decent mileage, you absolutely churn through those shoes. It's devastating. So I'm not going to lie, part of my motivation for running barefoot is just to not wear through shoes quite so quickly. So for all my double easy runs, the second run is always barefoot. And I do that on grass, and it's fun. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday was another really fun one. I think because I was filled with confidence from the half marathon on Monday, I decided to do my first ever double threshold day. So if you're not familiar with double threshold days, it's exactly as it sounds. You do a threshold session in the morning and then another threshold session in the afternoon. Now, to do them properly, you're meant to use a lactate meter to make sure your blood lactate stays where it needs to be, in order for you to get the training stimulus that you're going for, and also so you don't overcook it, so you're not overly exhausted the next day. So I don't have a lactate meter, so I was using power, heart rate, feel, and it went really well. The morning session, I did 2 12.5-minute intervals at half marathon pace, which is, a reasonably light session. It's nothing crazy, but I wanted to keep it like that to try and build from there. So everything in running, you've got to go slowly and gradually. So I didn't just want to jump into this with huge volume and massively increase my chance of injury, because I knew already this was going to increase my mileage quite significantly to possibly dangerous levels in terms of ramping up. So I didn't want to do that too much. So I just did 2 12.5-minute intervals at half marathon pace. They felt great. Always a fun workout to do. And then later on in the afternoon, I did more intervals, but this time they were 4-minute intervals at about 10k pace. Well, a bit slower than 10k pace. So 7 4-minute intervals at a bit slower than 10k pace.
And if it wasn't for the time and the taxi, when you called it, I said it was anxiety. While you held me from the back of the front seat, and you told me all the times that you lied to me. Well, I felt like a kid, like I could touch my feet. As they hovered above the ground in my Brewster seat. Oh, well, it feels like that again.
Like, it was a tough day, but it wasn't unmanageable. I think I overcooked it in the afternoon intervals. My heart rate was higher than I think it should be. But again, it's hard to know without a lactate meter, but it just felt like it was probably a bit harder. So I think I'll back the intensity off for next week when I do the session again. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to try and carry those double threshold days forward. I say try because it was a huge day. Because I also did strength training after that too. So I had 3 big sessions that day. And once you've added on warm-ups, cool-downs, stretches, all that stuff, it ends up being pretty much the entire day dedicated to exercise. And, before I was talking about balance. Anyway, we'll see how we go. It was a long day, but I really enjoyed it. And really surprised, I felt fine the next day. Like, I felt I did need a recovery day, but I wasn't really sore. I didn't feel completely beaten up. So it's definitely something I want to continue, because to get that volume of threshold in every single week, I think, wow, that's going to have huge impact on fitness, I think. So that was really cool on Wednesday. Thursday, another double easy day. So I think I did 50 minutes or an hour in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon. Friday, another double easy day. So an hour easy in the morning with a few strides, just to kind of prime my body for the long run the next day. And then another half-hour barefoot run in the afternoon. Saturday, long run. Loved it for so many reasons. It's just, I love long runs, which is a good thing because I'm doing marathon training. And I just love long runs. So good. No job to do. No one's asking anything of me. My only job is to get the run done and enjoy this beautiful world. Cool air, time to reflect. So good. Normally it's dark when I do my long runs, but I left a lot later today, so loving this. Get out there, get your runs done, enjoy this world.
It wasn't for the time in the taxi when you quoted, I said it was anxiety. But you held me from the back of the front seat, and you told me all the times that you lied to me. That I felt like a kid, like I could touch my feet. Instead,
Just beautiful. I love that time to reflect and just to have that time to yourself. You know, I think when we work full time as a parent, there are lots of demands placed on us, and a lot of life is about, as well it should be, is about doing things for others and giving and doing things you don't really want to do. That seems to be what being an adult's about. So it was really nice to just have a bit of time where no one's asking you to do anything. You've got no job to do other than get the run done. And I just find it so peaceful. I love it. So there was that aspect of it. But also, it was really cool to see some of the work I'd been doing regarding fixing my running mechanics and kind of body issues. It was really cool to see fruition from that because it felt so different. I could feel my glutes firing way more. My foot strike it felt perfect on my left foot. It's still a bit crazy on the right foot, but I could just feel my body was working so much better, which was really surprising because the crossover gait and the lateral pelvic tilt, I just assumed it would take a really long time to fix that. But the little exercises I've been doing, even though they seem quite pointless, when I'm doing them, I think, how is this going to do anything? This is stupid. But even after just a week of doing them, huge change. It's really quite amazing, and I will do another episode on this, but because they're not really strength training, they're not really strength exercises per se, and then I'm not doing sets and going to exhaustion. I think it's more about establishing that mind-body connection and me being aware of where the foot contacts the ground and engaging the glute medius, and really interesting. So it was really fun to be able to feel my body just working so differently on that long run. So yeah, loved that long run on Saturday, really good. And another strength session in the afternoon on that Saturday. So all in all, I've just loved this week. It's been such a good start. Really positive signs from the half marathon. I feel like the strength training is really doing its job, and all the exercises, the things I'm working on to fix my running mechanics and the gluteal tendinopathy, that's all working really quickly. I've loved doing the double threshold. So far, I would rate week 1 of this marathon training block 11 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. So hopefully that continues. Join me on the next one. I'll see you then.